Hey there, I am Elisa. Welcome to my channel, where we'll roam, sip, stretch, and review the best hidden gems from campgrounds to coffee shops to yoga studios and quiet, sacred moments with God. If you're into good vibes, honest reviews, and soulful adventures, you're in the right place. Hi there, I'm Elisa, your wilderness guide, out in the middle of nowhere in my RV, my tiny little home in my kitchen. And I have been sitting with God in this uncomfortable quiet and isolation, and he had gifted me with two verses that I wanted to share today, two stories rather. This is for you if you feel like your life is lacking direction, you're tired of delays and discouragement, and you're tempted to believe that your story is over. I want to prove to you that these thoughts are lies. Okay, so Jeremiah and Moses both do not believe that they can show up and do what God has asked them to do. So they're feeling inadequate. Do you ever feel inadequate in your life? I know I do. But what I want to share with you is Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10. And this marks the beginning of a prophetic calling on Jeremiah's life. And this is a story for us to remember that we're intentionally created by God with a purpose before we come here. God knew us before we were formed in the womb. So our fears and perceived inadequacies do not disqualify us for our calling. I just want to remind you of that. And this is a conversation between a reluctant young man, and actually both, speaking of Moses and Jeremiah, that they feel they can't do their calling, and a God who is purposeful and empowering. So taking time to sit with God every day is showing me that I have what it takes to do what God has called me to do. And you have a plan and a purpose in your life. And the only way you're going to hear it is if you get quiet enough to sit down and hear God speak. So my prayer is that you allow yourself to remove the blindfold, take out the earplugs so that you can hear God's voice. And then in Psalm 138:8, the Lord will fulfill the purpose for us. Your steadfast love, Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the works of your hands. God promises to take us to full completion. This echoes Philippians 1:6. He who began a good work in you will finish it to full completion. So you can have trust and faith that these stories in Scripture are reminders for us to completely rely on God, our source, to bring our works and our gifts to help other people. So Moses and Jeremiah both are given directions from God before they speak and before they go out to do their mission. And God actually touches the mouth of Jeremiah and says, you will speak. You will be able to do and accomplish what I've called you to do. So these stories are reminders for us that God is going to give us the directions, touch our mouths, touch our lives, our bodies, and speak life into them before we go out and achieve the purpose that we're put on this earth to do. God knows our identity and our purpose, and we are known and called and set apart before birth, and God's calling on our lives is preordained. So my prayer is that you will get in a space of quiet and appreciate the wilderness if you're in that space right now, because God speaks in the wilderness. It makes a huge difference in our life when we take the time to expose all these false systems and sin and fears and tear them down and rebuild them and replant so that we're restored into and onto a new foundation. And me personally in my life, I've not been able to do that on my own. Every time I try to do something in my own power, it really fails. I do so okay, but it's always works out better with God. I think your story is over. Think again. Every detour and pain has a purpose in His plan. You are God's workmanship, and He finishes what He starts. I love you.